as our 2x2 formation. Road change now, we go racing for the first time this season. 3 hours of GT action, it's go.
That's very tight as they come down. Group of cars coming in, this has all got trouble written all over it. This is G3 cars.
Drop downhill there, head towards the Aqua Minerale. Imola, of course. There's another one off through the gravel. As wide as possible as they drop downhill, putting that truck inside line. Yes, oh, he did. Through he goes.
Good evening everyone and welcome to a brand new season of AOR's Tier 1, the Speedy Boys. We are Season 14, Round 1, COTA, Circuit of Americas. I'm RageF1 and I'm joined as always by Tim. How you doing, buddy? I think Tim's having some technical issues, so we'll come back to Tim as and when. But we have a brand new season for everybody, and we have a full set of drivers that are ready and raring to go. We'll go through some of those new drivers that are joining us, and some of the older names that you guys have become to know and love. I'll quickly switch over so we can see what is going on screen for you guys. And fingers crossed we can get going some fantastic racing this afternoon. We are in a track that I don't think, as far as I can remember, we have done many times before here in AOR, maybe once or twice, but I can't remember having COTA being done much. I think we may have run it in Season 11, possibly. But we do have some favourites coming back this afternoon. We have Luke Whitehead, Aidan Walsingham, I think we've got Siata, we've got Kevin Niles, we've got Jardier also back, Samir Foch taking part, Valentine Barrier, and some others which we'll go through very, very shortly. I'm going to stop talking and go straight over onto this screen where everyone can find out what's going on, so we can see the movers and shakers this afternoon. There we go. Fantastic. So we are just about to go over into the qualifying session. We've got a few minutes left on free practice. Tim, are you with us yet? No, Tim is still lost at sea, but we will find him, I promise. Make sure he can join us this afternoon before we lose all sense of sanity. Let's see if we can get some information on drivers and bits and pieces to keep you guys involved. If you're new to the chat, say hello. Appreciate everyone coming on board and saying hi. And do also let us know if there's any problems with the stream. Any audio issues, obviously being first race of the season. Probably a little bit rusty. We've got some free practice going on. It'll give us a good idea of what pace is like. I know we have a brand new balance of power. You might hear us call it the BOP or the BOP. Give us a kind of good, true example on what's going to be quick, what's going to be fast, what's going to be slow. At the moment, we've got a lot of Lamborghinis at the top of the standings. We're on board at the moment with Conrad Siata, part of the Low Fuel Motorsport team. He is running around in the Porsche this afternoon with a livery, I must say. The liveries are working. Have we got some fancy liveries going on today? Let's see if we can get a good eye on what those liveries look like. Mattia Di Campo is joining us again for another round, another season. See if we can go through some of these names, see if you guys can remember, and if we've got any new ones. We've got Valentine Barrier, as I said before. We've got Lois Regina, he's joining us again for Season 14. Jimmy Holm, Arthur Patat is joining us again. Good to see him back in the car. And there are some new names that I'm not too sure that we've met before. Luis Fleischer, I think we might have met him once before. This man here, Jensel van Thalen, we haven't met, unfortunately. Skylar Loverink, we haven't met him either. Alejandro Perez, I seem to recognise that name. And we are skipping forward into the next session, so we'll make sure we go live straight away, so you guys can see what's going on. Okay, seeing as the pace looked pretty good up towards the top of the pack with some of those guys that we have known to enjoy racing with, I think we should probably go on board with them, starting with the three-time world champ, the joint three-time world champ with AOR. I've only got one other three-time world champ, and I think it might be Kevin Niles, Kevin Siclari, I think, is a three-time, but I'll come back to that. Anyway, we're with the three-time. Car number 55, I think he's chosen this season. Luke Whitehead, part of the LW-21 team, so it's his own outfit he's racing for this season. What an impact this guy's had in AOR. It's been a fantastic rise to form. We've seen him probably from about season 9, about season 8, season 9, get all the way through to the top end of the pack. And yeah, we used to call him the panel beater. It was a name given to him by love and grace. But he lived up to it in his early years. He's refined, a bit like a young Max Verstappen, and he is fantastically fast in any car he's given. And he's decided to go for the Lamborghini this season. So, what do you know? New car, new driver, who knows? Tim, are you with us so far? Are you here?
I am indeed.
Hey!
Yeah, you were saying earlier on about first time round there might be some audio issues. There definitely was. For some reason, nothing was coming through my headset, and I could just hear it very quietly coming out of one of my monitors for some weird reason. So
never mind. I
was sat here with nothing going on. But yeah, nice to see a change for Luke Whitehead. Obviously, he was in the I think it was the bright pink Audi last season, and I know he wasn't overly happy with his choice, but obviously decided to go with the new Lamborghini this time round. Very nice to see. And it's nice to see some of the older cars that sort of had disappeared for a little while have come back. Nice to see some Aston Martins out here in Tier 1 as well, because they disappeared for a little while just with the standard in-game balanced performance. Sort of took them out of contention for a little while, but it's nice to see them back. And sort of, you know, during the first practice, they seem to be fairly near the pointy end of the sticks. That's good.
It is indeed. We saw, I think it was the Porsche of Conrad Ciata inside the top 5, which bodes well. But it looks like the balance of power is leaning heavily towards this Lamborghini. But, you know, it's early days. We're not really too sure. I guess it's good that I know lots of people here, motorsport fans, follow the F1. So we've only just been to COTA, so we're coming back for a little love-in with the GT3 cars. A lot's changed in this game, it seems. It was harder for us to fill the ranks, I think, for a lot of the time. We didn't get many sign-ups, but it looks like some of the old favourites have wandered their way back to Tier 1. I did go through some of the names earlier on, Tim. We should go through a couple more as we've got a few seconds while we watch Luke Whitehead open up his first lap. Samir Foch joining us again. Aidan Walsingham. I don't remember, but I do recognise the name. Florian Durkamp. Maybe new, not too sure. Obviously,
I definitely recognise the name. I'll have a double check for you. Let's have a look.
Maybe a Tier 2, not too sure. We've got Jardier there in P4. Currently, at the moment, he's just fourth out on track. You can actually see him in the back of the picture there. He's in an Aston Martin, I'm pretty sure. So that's Jaroslav Hosnik, if you guys don't know who he is. That's definitely Jardier. Then we have also, let's see, Valentin Barrier, Lois Regina, I think Mattia De Campo, I recognise. Badowski definitely has been with us before. Luca Weidelich has also been with us. Arthur Patat, definitely. I think he might have been a Tier 2 at one point. Jimmy Holm, recognise that name. Rachanov.
The homing missile.
The homing missile, the 777.
Yeah, the 777.
There he is.
He's fourth in Tier 2 last season, so yeah, he's a real sort of rise up through the ranks this time round.
We'll keep an eye on the Holmster, the homing missile, as we like lovingly. It's actually his team name, which I like. Rachanov, well, I got completely lost now. Rachanov back with us again, Tier 1. Kevin Niles, good to see Kevin Niles back in a car. Now, I'm sorry, Kevin. I'm not too sure which Niles we are. So we're just going to call you Aston Martin Niles for this season. Any long-standing viewers will understand the Niles jokes, but there we go. Kevin Niles is back with us in the 444 Performance Unleashed Aston Martin. Fantastic to see him back, so thank you very much for sticking with us. Times are flooding in. at the moment. And weirdly enough, Samir, I don't say weirdly enough, he's incredibly fast. The red Ferrari reigning supreme. I love it that Samir has kept in the Ferrari all of these years, and he's there with us, smashing in good laps. I think the timing's just got a bit strange. But anyway, he was at the top for a little bit. He's now gone that down to 34th. Aidan Walsingham currently leading the pace away with a 2:04.4 currently. Is that fast? I don't know.
I think the fastest we saw in practice was a 2:04.1, and that was from the reigning champion, the Ripper himself. But there were some fairly close people. I think most of the top 19 cars in practice were within a second of each other. The last time I got a chance to check before we moved forward to qualifying. So I mean, realistically, I think a lot of these cars are probably still getting their tyres up to temp. It's quite a long track, lots of opportunities to make mistakes. So I'd imagine we're going to be seeing improvements all the way to the end of this qualifying session.
I think so. I'm just putting a poll out for you guys so you can interact with us here in the comments box. I'm going to give a who's going to win the first round of Season 14. I'm going to put some names that I recognise as speedy boys, and we'll see if those guys are the ones that finish at the top of the steps. So I think what we should go for originally would be probably, I'm just going to put him there because he's the reigning champ, right? No other reason. So we'll go with Luke Whitehead first of all. Do talk amongst yourselves.
I do feel like that's kind of a pretty safe bet. I think you've got to put Jardier in there. He did very well last season. Actually, just gonna have a quick look now, and let's just run through how everyone did last time round. So that was season 13. Obviously, season 14 now. Can't believe how it's rolling on round. So last time round, obviously, the reigning champion was Luke Whitehead, closely followed up by Valentine Barrier in second. Jonathan Riley was in third. Oscar Hall was in fourth. Jardier was in fifth. Aidan Walsingham in sixth place. Gert Fischer with seventh. Puccio in eighth. Conrad Ciata in ninth. And rounding out the top 10 was De Campo. So a few of those drivers back here again. I saw De Campo there. Ciata's obviously back with us as well. I believe Walsingham is here. Yes, he is. He's running in second place at the moment. So there's some big names, as you said, all sort of fighting out at the very top of the grid. And if you look how close everyone is already, it is now more than the top 20 cars are already within a second of each other. And these sort of, cars are still probably only on their sort of second or third flying lap. It'll be interesting to see sort of what people's plans are, whether they're running sort of a bit more fuel so they can get more temperature into the tyres, or they're going to go for a couple of bursting laps, hit back in, fresh tyres, fresh fuel, and out the door again. So,
yep, I think so. Adriano Diaz saying 720p ... Yep. I'm afraid we haven't been gifted the internet of the gods just yet here in sunny Sussex, but we will do at some point. It's just, I'm fighting with those ISPs to try and put a line in. Unfortunately, we are stuck at 720p until we have an improvement on the internet. I think you're very much the same, aren't you, Tim?
I can do 1080, but occasionally it does decide just to throw a wobbly. I have the thing of my internet is great, but then it will just randomly decide that there is no internet for a couple of seconds, which obviously when streaming is just fantastic. But yeah, the joys of living in the southwest, sort of down sort of on the Somerset, Dorset, Devon border. Yes,
unfortunately, we are given.
Forget about us.
We're given what we're given, unfortunately.
Yeah.
If you don't live in the city in the UK, you are given what you've got, and that's it. And if you complain, you'll be stoned at dawn. Luke Whitehead currently running around in the top spot at 2:04.2. That's only a tenth away as what he put in practice. We might have a slightly quicker track at the moment, optimum. We don't have any wind whatsoever. It's nice and warm, 31 degrees, 24 ambient temperature, optimum track conditions this afternoon. He is leading by a tenth or so from his nearest competitor. I'll give you those times so you can actually see. Not doing my job. There we go. Sorry.
You can eat those words. Walsingham coming in with a 2:04.150. That's a fair old improvement.
He instantly put himself to the pit as soon as you said that, so we cut to the pit. Lizardpunk.exe says, where are the full custom liveries, ? I mean, we do have a livery pack, and we did take probably about 5 updates to the full custom liveries before we went live this afternoon, so blame me not, for I am merely a messenger. The man with the toasters is the one you need to speak to. I know that's very cryptic, but they are here, Lizard, they are here. Unfortunately, you can't see them on every car, car. I don't know why. Look, like I say, we're really the facilitators of what you view for your own eyes. We don't get the packs in advance.
It can also be that thing of if your favourite driver at home has made their custom livery and they've sent it into Toaster, and then we get sent the entire pack. If they don't install the pack themselves, their livery won't show up for anyone else that's running that pack, because it's all slightly different. They have to because obviously we've got so many loads and loads of liveries all running at once, so that all of our computers don't just turn into big piles of melted plastic. Everything is compressed and tweaked. It has to be a certain format.
Yes.
So what you can find is when you're at home and you make a livery, it's easy peasy. You just stick it on, it pops up on your computer, it's fine. But I imagine you probably had the same thing as me yesterday or earlier today, where I had about 100 liveries I had to go through and open up, and my computer normally starts to get a little bit warm when it's on like into the hundreds of liveries that it's had to open up individually before we join the server. So yeah, it can be one of those things of, it isn't necessarily that it isn't installed on our end. It can be that either it hasn't been installed on your favourite driver's end,
yes,
or they just haven't put one in.
That was a much better and more technical version of what I said. Yeah, I think, to be fair, a majority of it is what you said first. These guys input their liveries, but then they don't install the livery pack themselves, which then their car looks like a black carbon mess, as you can see from the Porsche that Lewis is currently following, the 955. Number 955. It just doesn't show his livery because he's not got it on properly. But never mind. Anyway, we digress. You can see how compressed Lewis's livery is, because the one dot off is very pixelated. So that's what we have to do to make sure it doesn't melt the server, as Tim eloquently put. But we do have custom liveries. We have a smattering of custom liveries, and you will see them as the session does continue. Right, let's go through some of those times then, because we again we digress. A 2:04.1 is the current leader from Aidan Walsingham. He was looking good all session, really, and he's inside these in the Lamborghini, isn't he? Conrad Ciata looking quite spiky there with a 2:04.3 in the Porsche, and then Luis Fleischer, who we're watching at the moment in the 144, he's currently in a 2:04.357, so just behind. Can we see a glimpse of 2:14? Of course you can. You got the time. We have the tools. Let's have a look. 2:14. Where are we? Tim, help me.
That is Thielen down in 31st place at the moment.
Thank you so much. There we go.
Oh,
lovely.
Just pulling off, or maybe about to start a flying lap. I'm not sure. Just in this time as well, I will just quickly say that while we were running through those times, Luke Whitehead has come back now with a 2:04.11. So he is now in pole position. He has finally snatched it away from Walsingham while we were going through and working out who was who then.
Yes, that is Jentel Van Thielen in a Jentel drive car. It's a red chrome car, so whether it's not fully on there, I don't really know. Again, there is a long list of instructions you need to download this this livery pack, and I don't know why we always struggle with it, don't we? With Tier 1, I've got no idea.
Race one, it always seems like maybe the teams just haven't quite got their liveries quite sorted. It's normally a bit of a sudden rush of getting messages coming in from different team managers and drivers from all over the place, and then obviously the coordinators as well, normally saying, we've got one more, is there any chance you can squeeze it in?
Yeah.
But there does come a time when you're like, I can't. I just can't do any more.
Yeah. I'll have a chat with Toaster and see if it's something our end, but I really don't think it is.
I think most of them are here. I think, like Ciatas and stuff, that's a wicked looking livery. I love the Ciata livery. I'm a big fan of the anime liveries. There were some great ones last year, but I think it's fine. The main thing is that everyone's out on track. The cars are at least visible. That's the main thing. Sometimes the liveries can be a little bit lacking, but it's race one. That's what happens. It's always the same.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've got a fantastic looking car here of Alex Torregrossa in the Winning Rush GP, 217, currently 6th place, only 5/10 behind the current pole sitter. We've got quite a spread, haven't we, really? I think it's a fantastic time there from Luke Whitehead. He's actually 2/10 inside the 203s, which is mind-boggling, really. It's a second all the way back to, all the way back. I can't actually see when it's not a second. I think almost back into the mid-30s as it goes off the screen. So yeah, close split. This, I think we're going to see some good battling all the way back down. But you're right, Comrade Siata at the moment, he's got a very nice looking livery. That Porsche in the background looks fantastic as well. Not too sure what numbered Porsche that is, but it's a very Lotus-esque. There you go, anime specific. So we are doing it right. There must be something the guys are giving our coordinators for the livery packs. Anyway, packs aside, any particular race you're looking forward to this season, Tim?
Oh, I mean, oh god, I actually have to double check the calendar again. It's been a
Go
little
for it
while
with
since
his
I've read.
notice. Kota?
Circuit.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. I was going to look through. Am I looking at the right list? Yes, I am indeed. So it's Circuit of the Americas, Zandvoort, Misano, Silverstone, Zolder, Kyalami. There we go, Kyalami. That's
Same.
yeah, it's such a great circuit. I absolutely suck at it, but it's such a fun track. Yeah, that's probably the big one. I mean, Zolder's always quite a good one to watch because you've got those absolutely insane curves as you go through the chicane. So it's always quite an entertaining drive. We'll say that. But yeah, there is something about Kyalami that I just love. It's such an amazing track, and the weather there can be so unpredictable. So it'd be quite interesting to see what the weather does when we join them. But
So
yes,
the clock has struck, unfortunately. Qualifying is actually over. There was a little bit of a damp squib, that one. Luke Whitehead pretty much locked it out in his second to last run. He is way ahead of the competition. That is Aidan Walsingham with a 2:04. He's pitted, so he will start second at the moment, or at least no higher. Comrade Siata is currently third with Jardier in fourth. We're on board with Lewis, who can technically jump a few of these boys if he puts in a fantastic time. He's only got 7 thousandths to displace Jardier. He could possibly jump up inside the top 3 and get himself on the second row. Technically, he could go pole, but I don't think he's got enough under his sleeve. Let's see if he can displace a few as he comes across the line, and he doesn't. 5th place, no further for him, unfortunately. Where's Di Campo? I think he's coming through into the final section, the slower section. Always see action there at the race at the end of the back straight. I can't remember what it's called. Have they got names around here? I don't think they do name them. They're all numbers.
I don't think there's
they?
names. They're all numbers. I usually go for sector 1, 2, and 3. It all becomes a bit of a blur after a while, doesn't it? So Kota's one of those tracks where I think unless it's very easy to just suddenly forget where you are on the track.
Yes.
I always find when I'm racing on it, I'm just it's one of those tracks of doesn't flow quite the way that I prefer my tracks to flow around.
Oh, Di Campo's sending it through turn 19 and 20. Sorry to interrupt you there, Tim, but unfortunately losing the rear end, and that's all she wrote in that car. I actually had to just check my gamma because I thought we were really high because everything looks so like whitewash because it's so hot here. But no, it is correct, unfortunately. But anyway, there you go. Go Yentl, says Benny Pullis. Well, tell Yentl to get his livery sorted out. Anyway, we are going into the race here. And we have the Ripper on the top spot by 2 tenths. Tim, I don't think we've seen a gap at the top that big before, have we, really?
No, that was an absolutely phenomenal qualifying lap, wasn't it? I mean, it'd be nice to be able to talk to him after the race to see if that kind of was just a case of everything perfectly came together. You know, you hear about the perfect lap, where it's the idea of you put your best sector 1, your sector 2, and your sector 3 together, and you create a sort of theoretical, mythical perfect lap. I think he almost did that. I think somehow he's managed to just line them all up. I mean, it's just that is bonkers. We didn't see anyone get into the threes, did we? Into the sort of the 203s. That was pretty bonkers. And to outbeat everyone by a whole 200th of a second is just. I think a lot of drivers out there are probably going to be thinking. They knew they were coming, tier 1, how hard it is here. This is the top boys and girls. These are fast as fast. They are as alien as they could possibly be. But everyone expects to kind of be reasonably close because, they're all aliens in themselves. But they are probably now thinking, oh, God, what am I going up against now? It's up against, Whitehead again. It's just... But who knows? Last season, there was a little while where it didn't look like he was gonna win. There was a couple of races that didn't go quite his way, and then I think he was 13th in his final race of the season. So I think it was at Imola we finished that last season. I think.
Oh,
it seems like so long ago.
You're asking now.
That was summertime, wasn't it? That was ages and ages ago. So yeah, but as real life motorsport is kind of taking a bit of a step back and winding down, sort of across the world a little bit due to the colder weathers and stuff. Luckily, esports is exploding again, as it always does when the weather gets a bit colder, which is always nice.
Yeah, well, that poll that I gave you a good 12 minutes ago was who's going to win round 1. 86% of you said Luke Whitehead, 3% of you said Valentin Barrier, and 10% said Aidan Walsingham. So there you go. That's what you guys think of what's going on today. Well, what we'll do now is we'll go through the grid and how we're looking, and kind of go through the new joins and where we're looking with the guys on the grid at the moment. So currently on the front row is Luke Whitehead in P1, obviously. Pole position for him. Aidan Walsingham will be joining him on the front row. Second row, Conrad Ciata, joined by Jardier, just one place back then. And then we've got third row, Luis Fleischer. We were watching him on board for quite a lot. Lovely livery. He's joined on the third row by Alex Torregrossa. Then we've got fourth row is Skylar Loverick and Mattia De Campo in 8th place then. And then fifth row of the grid, we've got Nicodem. I'm not going to say his surname because I get it wrong, so you can just Nico for the rest of the season. You're in P9. You're joined by Arthur Patat rounding out the fifth row. And Alejandro Alejandro, we're just going to call you because it's easier. Avilés, is it?
It's pronounced Avilés. I think it's Avilés. I believe he was a tier 2 driver before. Okay. I believe it is Avilés.
And then we've got Franek Briatl in the lovely SDL Esports livery. That was given to us in a late entry, but I'm glad it was late because it looks fantastic. He'll be in row 6. Florian Durkomp, he'll be joined by Luciano Whitvit. I'm sorry if I get your name wrong there, Luciano. I'm trying. He'll be on the 7th row of the grid. Behind that, looks like a fan favourite today, Jentel Van Thalen. He's joined with Alejandro Perez on the 8th row of the grid. Chris Warner and Josh Waring will be on the 9th. Lois Regina and Valentin Barrier, wow, okay, down on the 10th row of the grid in 20th place. We've got Wojtek. We're just going to call you Wojtek because it's easier. He will be joined on the 11th row in P20 and 21 and 22 with Samir Foch. And then we got Abis Sentima in 23rd with Steve Favreau in 24th. We're getting down to the back end of the pack now, so we'll hurry up because we're almost about to go into the race. We've got Terman and Jacob in 25th and 26th. Jonas Kraft and Kevin Niles, Aston Martin Niles down there in 27th, 28th. And then we've got Christus Podens and Joshi Jimenez, in... I think that's row 15, P29 and 30. 31, Jimmy Holm, the Holming Missile with Barnabas Faiskas. Arnold Hours and Noel Haki in 33rd and 34th. We got Ahmed Seder Kurgulu in 35th. I did a good job of that one, Ahmed, so you better thank me. Calvin just behind with Luca Weidelich in 37th. Julian Vanbrugh in 38th. Marco Badowski in 39th. We've got a full grid today, Tim. Walter Millen and Venci Rachov are joining us at the back of the pack. Didn't get a good lap in, unfortunately, so he'll be right at the very back with a fantastic livery, I must say.
Is a quick one. Got to quickly say that I remembered actually that Kargaloo is, if you notice, he's running the same livery as the one Black Gold saw, and there is a reason for that. I believe he's a mouse and keyboard driver.
Shut
Kargaloo.
The front door. Really?
Honestly, I'm pretty sure he's mouse and keyboard.
Stability Control, 88% team. It is the same outfit as BGS.
Yeah, so I think that was one of the reasons why I'm sure he was a tier 2 driver last season, possibly. Or I've definitely had a conversation with him once before. And yeah, he is a full-blown keyboard warrior, as it would say.
That's hilarious.
Car number 20, in car number 25, which I cannot even fathom how you can make it round a lap cleanly, let alone fast, with a mouse and keyboard. So absolutely fair play.
Chat confirmed that he is on a keyboard, which is absolutely nuts. Well, Ahmed, you're now my new favourite. Kargaloo at P35. Yeah, well, hopefully he can rise through the ranks this afternoon and have a fantastic race with his keyboard and mouse. Well, very impressive indeed. That is a new one, actually. Tier 1 on a keyboard. Well, there you go. I know people used to play old games on the old keyboard and mouse, but I never thought we'd get to top tier esports and find someone still doing the same. Well, I say top tier esports. We are the top tier community run and raced esports team. We are the #1 when it comes to the community. There's no prize money involved, and that's what makes it even better, unfortunately. But there is a fantastic set of socks waiting as Luke Whitehead puts it onto the grass on his warm-up lap. He needs to quickly run to get back up to the top. Waiting, we'll see. What's all that about? We got some. Maybe he's onto the mouse and keyboard. Who knows?
That was a little bit of unexpected. I was thinking I'll have a quick mouthful of tea just before the race starts. You know, wet my whistle, and then suddenly I was like, oh my god, I couldn't get any words out. I just had to hum loudly. That is, I mean, I imagine he's probably running very low traction control, just trying to get as much heat into those rear tires as possible. But I wonder if that's kind of maybe shaking him a little bit. Maybe that's just, is that the kind of thing that makes you think, oh, maybe I need to just click on traction control, maybe just one more click for now, just to be sure.
I think he's talking to chat. That's probably what happened.
Yeah, probably got a bit distracted, probably trying to show off maybe a little bit, trying to, drift it out around the corner. But yeah, clearly that's a bit of a feisty beast, that Lamborghini.
Could possibly be. Gattis is saying there in the chat, apparently he got gifted a wheel from a YouTuber, but he's too slow. So he's decided to keep the keyboard and mouse. Well, there you go. New fan favourite, I think it's got to be. What number is he? Let's find out. He's the number 25, Cargaloo. Okay, fair enough. But we're running down to the line very slowly, but we are getting there as all the cars snake around and try and join the back of this pack. We just got to go under the barrier and we'll go green for the first round of AOR's GT3 Tier 1. Season 14 is almost away, and we're green, and we're off down towards turn 1. I say down, but it's not. It's really, really high climb as Aiden Walsingham comes to the outside of Luke Whitehead and looks for a position. Luke hangs him out to dry as Jardier and Ciata get a little bit friendly. There's cars going off the track on the inside, Tim. That's a crazy start to this race. I didn't see who had been forced off to the grass, but there was someone. Oh, we got a spinner at the back there. I'm not too sure who's involved. I think it's Chris Warner and Josh Waring at the back there. Unfortunately, we had a spinner early on, and that is not going to be the best way to start this race, right at the very back. Unfortunately, and I think that also is Aston Martin Niles right at the very back. Also, I'm not too sure what happened with him. My screen is all over the place. There we go. Couldn't get the timing screen. But what a start. Did you see what happened at the back there, Tim? Any news?
It was just a massive amount of bunching into turn 1, and then sort of a similar story into turn 2, sadly. It didn't really look like anything was too malicious. It was just a case of everyone concertinaing as they went into the turn and just sort of, you just don't expect to have to completely stop, and up at that point there's no yellow flag, so nothing malicious. I think everyone has managed to keep going, which is good, and I think most of the incidents were at quite a low speed. But yeah, Niles did seem to get turned around and then bumped quite a few times, so whether that car's going to be carrying damage, I'm not sure. Luckily it was quite low speed when he did get touched.
I know. Well, I did see some incidents going on at turn 11 as we were concentrating on what was happening at the top and having a little rerun of the beginning of that race. I didn't see who was off, but there was a car spun round at turn 11. That's the top of the almost hairpin before you come down the back straight to turn 12. We are still Luke Whitehead from Walsingham. Jardier chasing very, very closely. Ciata has had to be defensive on Luis Fleischer there a little bit further back. I don't know how to pronounce his surname. I'm just going to go with Luis. It's just easier, isn't it, right? He's under attack from that BMW. Not too sure how, Ferrari. It looks like he's been displaced. I can't see the Ferrari anymore. So Luis is somewhere further back. I think he's dropped places to Torregrossa. And Di Campo going wildly up the inside of the final corner. It's 3 abreast then, going down the back straight here, Tim. I'm not too sure who's going to come out on top. It looked like the Ferrari was able to get through. It's the Aston Martin, of Nicodem getting past Alex Torregrossa.
That was a hell of a dive up the inside, wasn't it? Mega on the
he's
round at turn 1. I'm not sure if there was contact there or not. Oh, and I think there might have been a bit of a rejoin. I'm going to see if I can jump back on the replay on my end and have a bit of a look. But,
it's all good. I'm on board with them now on the replay. See if we can
contact
see
on that pitch straight as well between these 3 cars. So a little bit of argy-bargy on the pitch straight, let alone when it actually got to the corner.
So Torregrossa, a small bump. Yes, it was. Torregrossa, unfortunately, bumping him. Might be a penalty coming his way. Was it a rejoin? Yes. Unfortunately, unsafe. Yeah, just nicked the side. I can't see who it was. It might have been a McLaren back there. It's quite hard to see what car it is. It might be Kraft. We got another spinner there. Another BMW spun round in turn 11, and I've got no idea who that is.
Duracorp, that was kind of a 63, but that was a bit of a an excitable rejoin as well, I think.
Yeah, they want to get on with it, really, don't they? Nicodem, unfortunately, losing a lot of time through that, and he's right back in this pack. I think it's Luka Vidalik who's got that fantastic livery that we saw earlier on. It is. Look at that. That's fantastic. That's getting awards for the best livery of the season so far. A lovely Lotus-inspired livery. We might as well stay with the Chaos, boys, because it is absolutely kicking off at the back of this pack. We're going 3 abreast through every corner. Unfortunately, the stewards are going to have an absolute nightmare this race, because I think these boys are slightly rusty. We've had a few months off. And they're coming to blows. And it's only the first round. You've got to remember, this is a long season. And it's a long old race. We've got 55 minutes worth of racing left, Tim. And we're already going toe-to-toe for every corner.
I think it's one of those things that this is obviously a new grid, lots of new drivers here. And as they haven't been, some of the drivers, even if they are returning, haven't been sort of on track for a little while. It's sort of in these AOR servers. And also these cars are different. They are running obviously the custom balance of performance. So some of these cars are heavier, some of these cars are lighter than normal. So you might know this, you sort of think to yourself, oh, I always drive the Porsche and I know exactly how it drives. But suddenly if you're carrying a load of extra weight and you're going into a corner, your braking zone, car number 25 into turn 1. Goodness me, that was a big old dive up the inside. I mean, technically made the apex, but goodness gracious, just caught that on the side of my camera.
That's Cargulu, isn't it? Again, with the mouse and keyboard. Yeah, no, I saw, obviously, on board with Luka Vidalik at the moment, struggling, I think. He's got Durkop right behind, and Warner in between him and Cargulu. I'm going to take a while to get used to Cargulu's name, because it's hard. Luka Vidalik gets hit in the front and the rear. Unfortunately for him, the pace was not where Durkop wanted it to be, and that was a little tip there from Florian through the. I think it's going into the second sector. Yeah, so Luka Vidalik a little bit further down now. It's chaos in that backpack. I think they're really struggling. Actually, it needs some time to settle. And I think there's going to be some choice words after this race, because to be fair, it's a little bit chaotic back there. We're seeing more action going on a little bit further up from what we're watching. Involving, I think it was, a little bit further back than that. It was Jonas Kraft and Jimmy Holm going toe-to-toe into turn 12 down the back straight. But it looks like the homing missile has held on to P19. I'm going to have a look up the top, I think, and see where we're going, because it's getting spicy in between Luke Whitehead and Aidan Walsingham. It's down to half a second as Jardier stayed with them. The gap has opened up to Campo and Ciata. They have dropped back by 3 seconds, Tim.
Yeah, these three have really broken away, haven't they? They've sort of, I think they are battling, but they're not overly sort of fighting and squabbling too much, are they? They're sort of sticking with it. They've made quite a smart move. They're not overly fighting, no silly moves, not slowing each other down. If these three can break away from the pack, then at sort of a later point in the race, sort of, give it another sort of like 5 minutes or so, 10 minutes, then they can start attacking each other a bit more. I mean, Whitehead is probably just thinking to himself, I just need to keep going. I just need to try and get away as much as possible. And I mean, if anyone can do it, it is going to be him. But say, Jardier looking really, really strong in third place. And actually, I think he's putting in the fastest lap of the race with a 205.115. So technically, Jardier is the fastest driver out there at the moment. But obviously, with traffic in front of him, it's not necessarily just a case of squeezing on round.
Yes, I think so. The purple sector, I'll get that sorted out for next session. It's been a while. I think the last time I ran some AOR was in a massive grid, and it was for a long period of time. So, yeah, I'll make sure we can whip those up. At the moment, we're running 120 frames, which is somewhat unnecessary. So, I'll get that sorted out for the next race. Don't you worry. Graphics are turned down way too far. It does look like an episode of Race Room. Yes, I agree. I'll sort it out for you. I'm very sorry. It's been a while. We've been on break. That's all my excuses done in one day, I'm afraid. It is a little low. I don't know why. It just does look a little bit low for Kota. I'm not too sure. Maybe it's the area, not the best. And it does look worse in whatchamacallit Cam. I'll get him turned up for you, though, Purple Sector, just for you, next time, I promise. Walsingham, then, still chasing down Luke Whitehead. It has come down even more so. And he had a 10th from last lap, and he's still being hounded by Jardier, who you say, yeah, quite rightly, is currently the fastest man out there. And he's definitely showing threat, isn't he? He looks like he's really comfortable in that Aston Martin.
Yeah, it does look like these two Look, can't think of the word. Lamborghinis out front. If you sort of watch them on all the corner exits, the cars look quite loose. They sort of really do seem to struggle to get the power down. So they're coming out there for that final turn. You can just see the backs of the cars just sort of like squirreling around a little bit, whereas Jardier in that Aston looks really planted. So long-term wise, maybe towards the end of the stint when the tyres are starting to get a bit more worn and they're not in that optimum range anymore, that is where I think maybe Jardier is going to be able to really come back at these two, because he might be able to look after his tyres that little bit better. Which you would think the front engine car would be the one to let the rear tyres, you know, spin up a bit easier, but no, it seems like those Lamborghinis are sort of quite loosely set up, which is surprising, really. You wouldn't think it to be the kind of car to slide through the turn, but these two do look slightly unsettled, and I think Walshingham is really now starting to show maybe some weak spots. I think I've noticed the back end of that car again there, getting unsettled. So is he maybe cooking those tyres, trying to push forward?
Yeah, I mean, it was going to hurt him in the first stint when he gets some change of tyres. Just so you guys who may not know, we have one change of tyre, no refueling on an hour race, but you do get to change the tyres. When you do that, it's up to you. Obviously, with changeable weather, you could possibly get that done early for an advantage if you wanted to. But there we go. Aidan Walshingham looks like he's losing pace down the back straight. Looks like Jardier had to lift there. He didn't fancy going toe-to-toe into turn 12 just then. And Tetradax saying, as someone who only drives Aston because it's supposed to be the easy car, I feel very validated right now. I mean, it used to be a very safe bet, didn't it? It used to be a very good car to drive, but with our custom BOP this season, specific to AOR, it seems to be a threat. We've got lots of Aston Martins. We've got, I can see, at least 4 inside the top 20. So yeah, we've got a good spread, and I like this. This is what we want, good spread. I heard, they even authorised the Jaguar. No one's using it though. I would have loved to see that.
I think even the old V12 Aston and the Reiter, I think all of them, I think they actually did get put on the list. The sort of the old Lamborghini, or the Reiter, I suppose, is basically a Lamborghini. I'm pretty sure it got put on the list to try and coax people into do it. I'm pretty sure I saw one custom livery. I think it was for the Jag. It might have been for the Jag. So someone out there's using it.
Someone's got one somewhere.
Last season there was someone in the Nissan GTR in Tier 2, and that was before the custom BOP, and they were actually quite they did quite well throughout the season.
Do you remember who that was?
I could go back and look, but it does mean I'll have to sort of look away from the racing for a little while and go back through my numbers. I did just notice, obviously we normally do 60-minute races here as part of the Sprint Cup season, but normally we do one 90-minute race, but actually this season we're doing 2.
Oh wow!
So it's a 90-minute race at Misano, so 2 weeks time, and then I'm actually quite pleased about this. Kyalami is a 90-minute race as well, so that's good because that's an extra 30 minutes on Monday, and then an extra 30 minutes for me on Tuesdays as well. So yeah, I'm actually quite pleased about that. It'd be nice to get some extra time watching that stuff.
Just for context, it was Alex Thiliou in the Frenchman in the Nissan GTR last season. There you go.
Yes,
I would never have remembered that. Well, there you go.
Who was it? Was it you? Did you look that up, or did someone let you know immediately?
I just looked up.
Okay, fair enough. I was like, oh my god, how did he pull that one? That was from right in the back of his brain.
No, I'm definitely not that way inclined. It's pretty much just monkeys with symbols up there, unfortunately. I definitely didn't remember it. Well, here we go. We do have a race going on with Jardier. I think just for the context and sanity of everyone watching, we will hop down and have a look what's going on the rest of the grid. It looks like Luke Whitehead's been given a small breather as increasingly Walsingham is becoming under attack and also cooking his tyres. So yeah, we will I think have a little slight discretion down the rest of the pack.
The battle for 11th place is it seems to be going on pretty well, and it is the battle of the McLarens. It's McLaren. Then there's a couple of other cars hanging on the back end of it. There's a Lamborghini and a Aston Martin as well. But at the moment, there's just a gaggle of this sort of midfield. This 11th place battle is it's just bonkers.
Tetradax agrees with you with the the Reuter. Reuter, is that how you pronounce it? True Heroes will be driving the Reuter. I didn't even know it was in the game. There you go.
It's right at the very bottom of the list. I think it even gets put like after the GT4 cars and things now. It's like right near the bottom. That's just one all on its own.
Bless. I know sometimes we've had some of the top boys using some of the older Porsches as a challenge and still performing very well. Can't remember who that was. But we do have sometimes drivers doing that. Doesn't always tell us if you've got the older spec cars, but there have been. I know we've had some people in the MP4-12C back in the day when we still had the 720s running around. So yeah, there's definitely been some McLaren usage throughout the years, but now it's just normally the McLarens that you're seeing in front of you. The battle of the McLarens with Frank Briatl currently leading that battle with his teammate Lois Regino, who we're watching right now. With the fantastic SDL Esports livery, shining in a brilliant, proud vision of pink, turquoise and blue, which looks fantastic in the afternoon sun here at COTA, as it looks like the 69 car was going to go for a dive then, but didn't, and manages to hold on to that place. Nicodem in P15 managed to settle himself after the Turn 1 fiasco that he managed to get himself around by the looks of things. But yeah, it looks a bit... Does it look whitewashed to you, this track? It looks very whitewashed.
It does. It's almost as if there is a haze. I haven't changed any of my settings from previous.
No.
But yeah, there's certain parts of the circuit it looks quite hazy, and other bits of it looks kind of all right.
Yes.
Sort of coming through Sector 3, it looks quite weird and hazy. But again, that might just be ACC. That might just be how it is. But then, yeah, when it changes to different cameras and there's sort of less depth of field and you can't see as far, it doesn't look quite as hazy. So, yeah, I'm not sure quite what is causing that, but something doesn't, seem.
We don't go to COTA very often, and because I change my gamma around for other games sometimes, so I was like, oh, well, maybe I've got an old setting on. No, it's as it should be. So, okay, fair enough. Maybe it's.
I think this is just how it. I think this is just how it is. It does a similar thing when you're at Laguna Seca. I always think there's a weird haze at Laguna Seca as well. I've just noticed actually there is a back marker. Car number 112 is now in front of our leading trio. Blue flags are being waved, not quite close enough to make any kind of issues yet. But car number 112, who is that? That is Jimenez. Yeah, running in 38th place. In that. It's a wicked livery, actually, on that car as well, isn't it? That Ferrari, that bright green Ferrari. I think that was one of the cars that was involved in the Turn 1, Turn 2 incident.
It was.
That's on a bit of a recovery drive.
I mistook that for Aston Martin Niels, or Niles, as we should say. Yeah, I thought it was Kevin Niles, but it's not. It's a completely different car. So yes, he definitely got caught up or started at the very, very back, unfortunately. We do have some pitters, though. A recent pitter, which someone we can use as a bit of a benchmark. We do actually have Teresic currently, Jakob Teresic, in the pit at the moment. Oh, no, he's DNF'd. He's not here. He's gone home. So who else have we got who's pitted? It was Luis has come in, and he was right at the top. I think he was chasing around Mattia De Campo, Conrad Ciata area, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely got off in qualifying quite well, so not too sure. He's got a very heavily damaged rear end. Never good to see. He's 17 seconds up the road from a couple of the other cars. So I think he is our first to pit of the somewhat front runners. So good to see how well he comes of that early pit stop. I mean, we're 42 minutes in. We may start seeing some other people put in pit stop appearances. Who knows?
It's an odd old game, and it's trying to work out your pit strategies. Obviously, you have to do one mandatory pit stop, and I believe it is no refueling is allowed. So you have to run your full amount of fuel at the very beginning, but you are allowed, obviously, there is one mandatory tyre change. So when you're stuck there in the pits for, I think it's 30 seconds, I think, is what tyres usually cost you. It's just to try and stop people using sort of too many ridiculous strategies. But actually, in the 90-minute races, you are allowed to refuel and you are allowed to change tyres, but there is no mandatory for either. So if you've got a car that can go the full 90, which I don't think you can on a single tank, then you can try and do it. Or if you want to really be brave and try and do it on a single set of tyres, then by all means give it a go. But not sure at certain circuits like Misano or Kailami that trying to run that on one set of tyres is really a very smart idea. But you never know. We've seen stranger things. Strange things have happened here in AOR.
I know, I think there was whispers of the Bentleys used to be able to do the 90-minute stint. Oh! Franek Briattel almost crashed, well he did, actually, into the back of Van Thalen. Yentl getting a little tap on the rear, the 214 in the Lamborghini. From, is Briattel, is that how we're pronouncing that, Franek?
I think, yeah, Briattel.
There's no L.
I know, it's two T's, so yes, probably, I'm not sure actually. Now I see there's no L, that has confused me quite greatly. You know what that's going to be? That's going to be a Discord message to find out the correct pronunciation on that one. This is normally the case of I then spend my next week messaging people to sort of, to double check and sort of make sure I'm vaguely pronouncing names correctly, as usually I'm not. And you probably have the same issue as well. And then we usually message each other back and forth, don't we, Rage? Just to be like, oh, I found out this. But I've just noticed in the chat is Arcatoothis, who is part of the AOR family as well. He's done some streaming and done some commentating with me. I think he's done some with you as well.
He has.
I think actually at one point we were all in the booth together here at COTA during an endurance race. I think we were all joking that we were in the little ambulance at the end of at the beginning of the back straight.
With our little commentator mics in hand, all sat there.
Was our we all got shipped out and we had to then sit in a van. And
sharing a Bovril.
Oh, Bovril.
Yeah,
God, I haven't had Bovril in years. Well, I had on toast, but not a drink. Bovril's good.
A lovely, nice, warm Bovril. Yes, what was I going to say? Pint Scheller saying the 46, which is technically the 86, is what he meant, uses the 214 to stay on track. We're watching right now as he almost clambers inside of Van Thalen's car. Yentl Van Thalen, he's holding on to P9. He was a fan favourite when we started. There were lots of shouts. Hi, Arcatoothis, by the way. I'm not ignoring you. Welcome to the chat. It's good to see you back here. It's good to see you as part of the AOR Famalan. I don't know, when was the last time we did AOR endurance bits and pieces? I can't remember. Is there a season in the pipeworks? Question mark. To other coordinators, maybe give some ideas to people as we've just gone live for season 14. Who knows what we've got?
There was one this year,
yes.
But there was an endurance season this year, but I don't think that all the races were covered on with full-time streaming.
Ah, okay.
I just this time round, I think a few of us this year have all been a little bit more busy. I got married this year, so I've been very busy, either sort of planning furiously, saving furiously, and then working every spare second of my life to try and afford it. But that was last weekend. That's all done now.
Ah, congratulations! Last weekend.
Yeah, literally last weekend. So yeah, sorry, I was reading the messages at the same time. Yes, this time last week I still very much had a hangover, which was good. But that was last Saturday, so that's all sorted. I'm now officially married. So sorry everyone at home. I know you're all devastated now.
Yeah, sorry girls, you have to give him back, unfortunately.
Yeah, sorry boys and girls. You'll have to just put up with my voice, but you just have to live with the fact that no, I'm taken. I'm afraid. Just quickly say, where did Thielen I said that 214? Where did they qualify? Because I have a feeling they've done a really, really good sort of drive here this evening. I'm gonna go back because I have the thing of I can have a look ski and see where they qualified, because I'm interested in that, because I think that's been a massive. Yeah, they qualified in 15th.
Very nice.
So that's a really good old improvement.
Yep. Obviously, we had a few spun around, didn't we, at the beginning? So I'm not taking anything away from him, but we did have a few spun around at the beginning into turn 1, so it could have benefited a little bit there. One of those who is behind him is the number 997, the Aston Martin, the blue and white one. You can see in the back of the screen. So he obviously collided with a couple of cars. So yeah, I'm not surprised he maybe won a few there. But yeah, I don't know. Obviously got through a couple more on pace. I feel though. That Franek really wants to get past him, bless him. He's really looking for a space to open up around him, but whether that's going to happen, I'm really not too sure. Where is the other SDL car? Oh yeah, a little bit further back. SDL sounds like a movement, a militant movement. Maybe it is, an esports-based militant movement. Are you part of the SDL? Yes, I am, and what's it to you? Anyway. It sounds somewhat aggressive, but there you go. We're going up to see what's going on in Ps 2 and 3, because currently Jardier is very close. He was very close to Aidan Walsingham, but it looks like he's dropped back a little bit in that lap. That's strange. It says 7/10, but last time I checked that split time, it was 3. I'm not too sure what's happening there, but hey ho, they're still behind each other. That's the main thing. Let's go back a little bit further. We want to give love to the whole grid. We've got Samir Foch going toe to toe, but that looks like Jimmy Holm. So I'm not too sure what's happened with Samir. Oh yeah, Jimmy Holm just losing the position there to Samir Foch. And it looks like it's Samir, Jimmy Holm, Kevin Niles all together. What a fantastic lineup of absolute banter, these boys. Good drivers all round here, all going toe-to-toe for P22. And Kevin Niles looks like he's just pinched that away from the homing missile. And he's going to go up into P22, Samir Foch into P21. So Kevin Niles and Samir Foch can run away and try and get into the low teens on merit alone. So there you go, little battle there of the old guard.
I did just notice that from 9th place, Thielen has also pitted now. So car number 214, that red Lamborghini.
Oh, yes.
Obviously, that was running some really good pace. So that would be interesting to see sort of how that works out. Obviously, was in 9th place when they pitted, still in the pits at the moment, and now I think they're going to be dropping down into the the high 20s. So I think 28th, 29th is where he's going to come out. Podens as well, pitted at a very similar time, and they are now neck and neck with each other. So that'll be something to keep an eye on strategies-wise. It's still sort of in the first half of the race, just over 35 minutes left of the race to go. It all gets a little bit technical, doesn't it, when it comes to the pit stops? There's so many things. Oh, Rashanov's got themselves a drive-through penalty. They were down in 31st place, and that is not great. It's quite a big old
Vanbra's been
here.
disqualified. Sorry. Julian Vanbra's been disqualified from the race. I don't know why, but the car 87 is out. I don't know why. He's literally sat in the pit. Team spin. Number 87. Julian Vanbrugh. He's a common showing for AOR Tier 1. He's out. Sorry to interrupt you, Tim.
No, that's absolutely fine. What on earth happened there?
No idea.
I think they've completely left now, I think, because I went to try and go back and see if I could spot something that happened. My only thoughts is that a case of a sudden lot of corner cutting?
I'm leaning on maybe he spun in the pit lane or something and got DQ for going backwards. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, there's nothing in the AOR incident reports or anything like that. Obviously, live stewarding coming along this evening. So if anyone has an incident that they want to mention, they can obviously put it into our coordinators and the race control. Have a look at it, and if they deem a penalty is needed, they can add it in live as we go. But yeah, so far this evening, although we've had a little bit of argy-bargy, I think that most people kind of just accept it as part of the sort of race one. You do see it in real-life racing as well, especially in GT racing with such massive grids. And God, don't you always see it in a British touring cars, sort of, you know, race 1 and 2 of the season. It's all elbows out. It is ridiculous. So yeah, I think just a case of some people just letting a few incidents go and just taking it as a case of just letting it happen.
Maybe. I think the stewards will be racking the knuckles of a few anyway, if it's up to them. I'm on board currently with Conrad Ciata, still chasing the back of De Campo. He's been there all race, bless him. Never mind. But yes, what was I going to say? So Purple Sector and Arcatoothis were wondering why you're not in Bali right now, Tim. Maybe you are. Question mark.
Because all my money, because all of my money went on. Oh, Jardier into the pits. That's a big, significant move. He is into the pits from 3rd place. That's far too expensive, mate.
Mattia De Campo also in the pits from 6th or 4th. Sorry.
I think it was 4th, wasn't it? This is the shake-up, isn't it? This is where I think Whitehead basically, whenever he pits, it's going to be fine because he's kind of been in clear enough air that he has been just straight up lapping. I think unless he has an incident where he has an incident with a back marker, he seems to have broken away a little bit now. I mean, my timing board is saying he's only 0.8 ahead of Walsingham, but then the actual in-game is saying it's 1.3 seconds now, which I think is about right because Walsingham is now coming up behind the back marker that we saw earlier on. but he really has sort of broken away, because that's no slouch, that back marker. There's, he was hanging on to the back of Whitehead for quite a little while. So I think it's going to be a case of just Whitehead, just whenever he feels is most comfortable to go for the pits. It's his race to lose, really, at this moment. Although, there we go, the door has been opened and through goes Walshingham onto that back straight. And where is Jardier going to come out?
He's just coming out now. He's literally just going up the hill. We're on board with De Campo currently. So you'll see Jardier join. So Jards is going through turn 1 right now.
So he's lost a fair old bit of time. But I'm saying Thielen, who pitted from 9th earlier on, is down in 24th still. So gained a few positions, but it'd be interesting to see how much that they climb.
Franek's got himself a stop-go, speeding in pit lane, unfortunately. He's going to be annoyed about that, unfortunately. Right, well, this is what I was saying earlier about the idea on where the pace was. Luis Fleischer pitted very early, and he's come out behind De Campo. So he is, at the moment, 5th. So that's how that helped him. And Van Halen was about 8 seconds behind. So there's big spaces and big positions to be gained by the looks of things with pitting early. Obviously, it will hurt you towards the end of the race, but I mean, it's a hard old track to get past here at Kota, so it could do you well. And for Luis, I think it has. The 144 currently chasing the back of De Campo, and I'm sure we'll have who was chasing De Campo earlier? It was Conrad Ciata. He should be in the pit soon, otherwise he's going to get left behind, I think.
Right, so turn 1, it's finally come through, and it's actually a car that we've spoke about a fair few times. Car number 214 with a 25-second penalty, and that is Thielen in that sort of a blood red Lamborghini. That is a case of it's coming in now. Responsible for causing a moderate avoidable accident on lap 1, turn 1. To get an idea of how many cars were involved, car number 444, car number 29, 86, 69, nice, 63, 81, 77, 11, 111, 14, 23, 901, and 214 were all involved in that incident. But yeah, they have deemed it all on one car, apparently, car number 214.
Well, he kicked it off, didn't he? He tipped, whatchamacallit, I can't remember his name. He tipped him in the rear, just a little tippity tap, and that was him round. So yeah, he started. It was the instigator of the incident, right?
Yeah, and I think it was just a case of it just kept piling up after that, didn't it? Really, there was nowhere anyone could go. So I think most of the top 10 are now in the pits. It looks like all the way from, I think it was 7th to 13th I saw a moment ago, were all in the pits. There's only a few of them that have actually stayed out. It's only the top 5 now that haven't gone in. Whitehead, Walshingham, Ciata, Perez and Kraft.
It's just good to see a Perez not in the wall after last week.
See, I'm going to make some enemies now. I'm not an F1 guy, so I know the name Perez, but that's that.
It's a Mexico Grand Prix. Unfortunately, Sergio Perez thought he could win the race in the first corner. Goes round the outside of Charles Leclerc and took his front wheel off almost. Yeah, never mind.
No, that sounds fine. That sounds absolutely fine. Oh, there we go. Walshingham and Ciata into the pits now. So second and third place drivers have come in.
Be very good to see what happens with De Campo and Ciata. Whether De Campo is able to capitalise on an early pit or whether it hurt him. It looks like it's actually benefiting you to pit early. He had 2 laps in hand on De Campo. So yeah, De Campo should easily cruise past, but it's whether Luis joins him and scuttles on through too, which I think he will as they're coming into the 3rd sector. I think he's definitely going to have a good old run into turn 17 and 18 they go. And it'll be very interesting to see if Conrad Ciata does get back out and behind or in front of De Campo. I'm going to say it's going to be behind, and he's going to be battling with Luis going into turn 1. So round the final corner, turn 20. Where is Ciata? Is he leaving the pit? Still there? I think he's still stationary.
As I've just seen Walshingham rejoin, and I think, is he going to get taken by Jardier here in turn 1? No, they're still bumper to bumper. It's going to be that case of possibly Jardier might be able to get a run where his tyres are up to temperature. But I think he's gained, I guess it would be about half a second he's gained, Jardier. By pitting earlier, he has gained half a second over Walshingham, as they had broken up a fair bit before the pit stops. But it wasn't the jump I imagine he wanted. I imagine he would have wanted to get himself up into second place, as in now he is again staring at the back of that number 7.
Yep, Conrad Ciata did lose the position to Luis and stayed behind Di Campo. He lost about 2 or 3 seconds there behind those two, but the tyres should come to him towards the end. And yeah, crucially, Tim, as you say, Jardier's tyres are warmed up. I think we might have a run here going down into turn 12. We've got the Lamborghini being ferociously chased by Jards just on the outside now. He's taken, unfortunately, the longer way round. If he can get him on the brakes and stick it on the outside, which he does, Jardier then up into second place. Well, de facto second. It's only third at the moment. Perez will come in and do his pit shortly. But Jardier then crucially past Aidan Walsingham. That's going to be massive for the championship opening round. Jardier getting himself into the area where you can score more points. 88 up for grabs for second place. So very good job there for Jardier to get past Aidan Walsingham. Will it change hands again, Tim? Only time will tell.
Yeah, I think it was just a case on the brakes there. Those tyres, obviously, you know, Jardier's car, he's done a couple of laps now, got those tyres up to temp. He knew that he could anchor on a little bit later, really work those tyres, you know, not going to do any damage now. He's had a few laps. Just obviously more confident on the end of that back straight and just outbrake round the outside. Really, really well done. And to be fair play to Walshingham for not trying to sort of over-defend and cause an incident as well. Where is Luke Whitehead? He has left the pits now, hasn't he? But he's only just getting up to speed. I think he is going to be absolutely swamped by these two over the space of this lap. Walshingham and Jardier are right there behind him. And I imagine sort of Jardier has definitely got his blinkers on and is absolutely pushing forward to try and get after him before that Lamborghini can get his tyres fully up to temp.
Yeah, it looks like Valentin Barrier has managed to get past Waring. Is it Josh Waring? I think it is. Yes, it is. For P11, so he'll be very happy for that. That's the battle of the McLarens he's managed to get himself out of, so that's good. I know he was following those guys ferociously earlier, so he's managed to get himself clear of the SDL boys and alike. De Campo still being chased by Luis, and yeah, you're right. Jardier and Whitehead will be coming towards soon enough. Walsingham right behind. Maybe Luke Whitehead looks like, I'm just going to call it here, maybe he didn't stop properly on his pit stop. He lost himself a few seconds in the pit, and that's all it takes in the top end of AOR Tier 1. Just to have a slightly ungainly pit. Maybe he went wrong on the exit or the entrance. It's more likely the entrance, right? It's a sharp left-hander, and he's losing time at the moment to the boys behind. Only a second and a bit between them. 1.2.
Oh, there's been a big off for car number 63 of Florian Duracorp. Had a little bit of an incident in turn 1. Got a little bit unsettled and then came together with another car then and ended up with a really high-speed impact into a wall. So I'd be surprised if that car is still going. A few more penalties coming in now as well.
Oh, God.
What have we got here? 5-second penalty for car number 60. No license points on this one though, and it is coming in for Luciano. Is responsible for a minor avoidable collision. So that was lap 1. It doesn't say what turn that was on. It just says on lap 1. Yeah. So I'm not sure where that was.
Luciano Whitvuit, unfortunately. 5 seconds isn't too bad. He will drop probably 2 positions to Samir and Calvin. Lejekas, unfortunately, will jump him, and the homing missile's just got to carry on pushing through, and he might take him too. So yeah, Jonas Kraft might actually get him as well. These guys are really tucked up behind each other at this stage, so yeah, he might lose a good lot of positions just for a 5-second time penalty. Got a little bit of work to do then, as the car 60, to undo some of the damage that's been done by that unfortunate event. Hole might not get him. We'll see. Long time to go yet. 22 minutes. And it looks like Luke Whitehead's been able to switch on those tyres now, as the gap is starting to go a little bit more in the black to Luke Whitehead. It's starting to eke out to now 1.3. So yeah, it looks like Luke's turning on the charm with that new rubber, but he has got traffic.
I think that is the same. Oh no, it is a different black marker. It's a very similar black marker, but it's not quite the same. Oh, there we go. Look, it's a good one. Rick Wales in the chat. Apparently, it's not Waring, it's Waring. Josh Waring, and apparently he is in school with his son Kieran, who is Josh's spotter for this evening. So that's always good to know. Cool.
Well, maybe we should spell his name right, the name. We won't get it wrong. Anyway, I'm only joking. Josh Waring then, yeah, he's P12. Lost the position to Valentine Barrier. I mean, he lost the position to the old guard, so he was fighting it out in the top spot for last season. So yeah, he lost out there to an old sport. Perez gets himself a drive through. That'll be for track infringement of some kind. And we do have another penalty in the way of Luis, unfortunately. That's towards the top end. P5 for him. He'll lose himself 5 seconds. That'll drop him 1 place to Conrad Ciata. Conrad getting the rub of the green only just, bless him. But thanks for the update, Rick. Appreciate that. It's always good. It always surprises me how young these guys are. Like, it's still in school. Oh dear. In school on a Monday, Tuesday, and racing in the top tier of community-run AOR esports. I mean, it's a good thing to put on your CV, really, isn't it? To be fair. What are you doing? Oh, just racing some cars.
But it is cool that it is becoming esports is becoming sort of more legitimate, if that makes any sense. I think obviously sort of lockdown and things like that, and sort of the old COVID did change a lot of opinions, but it is quite nice. I believe, is it Max Verstappen he's sort of trying to push the idea of sort of like trying to get sim racers a bit more involved in it. I think also Jimmy Broadbent as well is doing something similar as well. He's sort of looking into getting sim racers behind the wheel of real cars to see what they're like. I mean, because it's been proven that they can do it. Obviously, there's some people that won't necessarily be able to sort of, move their talents across to real life racing. But it is quite interesting, the idea that it's becoming a legitimate way in, especially for sort of lower incomes. It's a lot cheaper to get yourself, sort of a steering wheel and a PC that will run the game. Than it is to go and do karting or something like that, which is the classic way of getting into motorsports, karting. Because if you want to be good at karting, you've got to have tens of thousands at this point. But speaking of karting, it might almost turn into bumper carts in a minute or two, because Jardier and Walshingham very, very close together.
Sorry, Rick just gave some context. But there are young drivers. I will point out, we had a 15-year-old last season that was fantastic. Or the season before. Rick Wales said, Josh isn't at school anymore. He's a 13-year-old plumber. He started sim racing in February 22. Well, there we go. I don't mind. You could be a 32-year-old or 31-year-old plumber. So that really tickled me, Rick. Thanks for the context. So Josh Waring, plumbing in his day job and racing in the top tier esports in the evenings. That really tickled me. I don't know why. Jardier's dropped back a little bit further. Walsingham's still with him, only 3 tenths behind as I clear the tears from my eyes. Thanks, Rick. You've cheered me up.
Another penalty coming in, 15-second penalty, and that is for car number 52 and 2 license points. And that is on lap 2, causing a moderate collision as well. So where is that? Car number 63.
It's Skylar Loverink, unfortunately. P31.
Yes. Yes, that was the car earlier on. It did, I believe... Oh, no, it's not. Oh, we're looking at this right. Car number 52? It is, yeah. Do you know what? I said the words out loud, and then my brain just completely changed what I thought I was looking at. But yes, you are right. Indeed, Rage is down in 31st place at the moment. That is realistically going to see them pretty much off towards the back of the grid, sadly.
Yeah, he's behind, although it's a plain livery, it looks actually quite menacing. The white livery of Arnold Horace, or Howers, however he wants to pronounce his name. The G Lingui Esports. So yeah, that looks pretty cool, that. 901 car.
Oh, there's been an incident. Jardier and Walshingham.
Oh,
I think they're coming together.
Let's have a look. We missed it. Jardier, was there a little tippity tap? Should we go back 30 seconds and see what happened?
I think it was at the end of the back straight.
Yes, I think so. I'm going to go on board with Walsingham, literally. Inside Aidan Walsingham here for you guys. There we go. Sticky in here. Going down towards turn 12. On the brakes. Yes, got him slightly nipped the back there. He waited for him. He should avoid himself a penalty there. Should, he says, question mark. He might get a slap, maybe a warning. I don't know. He waited for him. Oh, we've had a crash. Are we here? Are you there? We are. Good. We're back. No problem. You still with us, Tim?
Oh, yes, I'm still here.
We fell through the earth for a second, but we are back.
Fantastic. I do think sometimes it doesn't always come across that I'm essentially watching the race myself, aren't I?
Yes.
I'm not watching your stream, otherwise all my commentary would be a little bit behind, because even with the joys of internet, everything is always a little bit delayed. So if I tried to watch the YouTube stream and commentate on that, everything would have happened and then I'd be off somewhere else. So I do sometimes forget that me and you aren't watching necessarily the exact same thing and the exact same camera angle. I think we've become reasonably in sync at this point. But yeah, there's still bits of time. When you were saying about how we had a crash, I was looking around on the timing board thinking, I can't see any yellow flags anywhere. But
Sorry. I meant a PC crash, but yes, you're right.
I know. When you said you'd fallen through the floor, I knew exactly what you meant.
We're knocking on the door to Narnia right now, but no, we found our way out. Mr. Tumnus found us back into that cupboard, and we are back in the real world, on board with Aidan Walsingham as he tries desperately to get past Yards. Not happening at this stage, is it? Unfortunately, Aidan's got his tyres up into a good place, and Jardier didn't pull away. That's the main thing. 5 seconds now. Luke Whitehead's got himself ahead of these two boys.
Same place last lap though. These two came together. Does seem that maybe the Lambo's a little bit stronger on the brakes now. Is this starting to happen? Are we starting to see the Lambo sort of coming in? It looks fairly strong here through sector 3.
Oh, he's definitely using his tyres. Skidded out of turns. Well, I don't know where we are. Turns 14. He couldn't get the traction down. But I think it was a combination of Jards getting the braking done quite quickly, a little early, and Walsingham getting it a little late, and they met in the middle. It looked like Jards was all stopped a good metre from the apex, which is not, it's not ideal, but yeah, unfortunately, Aidan got caught out. Didn't have enough time to move to the outside.
No, and it's one of those things, sometimes you sort of think to yourself, oh, I'm sure the driver in front of me is going to get off the brakes and I won't quite touch. And by the time you then realise, you're already braking as hard as you possibly can, and there's nowhere else to go. I think the fact that he did wait does show sort of good form. So I'd be surprised if anything does come from that. I imagine Jardier will probably laugh that one off and just take it as no positions lost. A little bit of obviously a time lost to Whitehead, but I think the kind of two of them have probably realised that at the moment their squabbling is definitely what's going to stop them from being able to catch up with Whitehead up in pole. As I think he's put in the fastest lap of the race as well, hasn't he?
He's got a wonder weekend at the moment, isn't he? Pole position, fastest lap, and he's currently leading. So yeah, Luke Whitehead's he's got the triple crown at the moment, as you would say. So he's doing very well this afternoon. But yeah, no, I'd be very surprised if that's a penalty. That's a racing incident if I've ever seen one. Especially as he waited for Jards to get back on track and no time was gained. And as well, they're very lucky that De Campo's that little bit further back, so there's nothing lost, nothing gained. Obviously, if Jards had fallen back behind P4, then there might have been a penalty coming towards Aidan, but I don't think there will be. I think it's all good. Little racing tap, I think that's all fine. Look, worse happens in touring cars, right? Bumpers go off.
Oh, everything happens in touring cars. Goodness gracious, love it. Josh Waring, I think, is under attack, and that is from kind of a 997.
It's Waring. Come on, Rick's not going to tell us again.
Oh, it's Waring. I'm sorry. I am but a simple man.
What was happening to Josh? Sorry, I interrupted you.
But yeah, he's just been overtaken actually by kind of a 997.
Oh, Nico's got him.
That is, Nicodem squeezed on by in the braking zone, got it done. I do like that Beechdene Aston Martin. It looks great. Fantastic livery. Speaking of fantastic liveries, Hodens. In the Celtic Bromance Corner Cut division, I believe is the full name. And the car is covered in track limit warnings.
Is it really? 1 second, we've got to get a bit of a close-up on this. I like the Celtic Bromance guys. I think we've had those in. It is covered in track warnings. What was I going to say? Those I think those boys have raced in our AOR esports. Endurance as a team. So it's good to see that. Christa's Podens is taking part in the top tier now. That's a fantastic livery. That's got to be one for the coordinators, that one.
It is a fantastic one. I think to be fair, I think there is about 1,000 different Celtic Bromance liveries that I have on my computer now.
Same.
From over time, sort of, different communities, different racing series, sort of everything, and I end up with absolutely tons of them. I ought to like message and be like, can I use them in my game? But just because my liveries are absolutely awful, they're just in-game generated ones. But who was that? In 21st position, I've just seen someone has picked up a drive-through penalty. Oh no, maybe they just cleared it. Something happened. Something caught my eye, and I immediately went to it. But I think they might have actually been going into the pits to do that themselves. So I do apologise to everyone at home if I...
Voltec has just come in. I think he may have cleared something.
Oh, there we go. And Josh Waring is part of the Celtic Bromance.
Oh, is he? Well, there we go. Is he? I can't see him part of the team for me. Doesn't show.
No, it's not showing him as part of the team for me. So that might be a case of he's running a sort of a different livery or something, or maybe not running a custom one too, because that's definitely not a standard livery. That looks just like an in-game custom one, though, doesn't it?
Yes.
So normally, if it's a broken livery, it just kind of shows up as a sort of carbon fibery, blackish, greyish colour, doesn't it?
Carbon fibre
But
mess.
that definitely has something on the side of it, which it's a good-looking car. Nice pink wheels.
Well, it's a bit like Jards' car. Normally it's got his face plastered on the side of it, but it's not showing. So, I don't know, we'll message him afterwards to just make sure he's got the pack downloaded. Aidan Walsingham, though, is right on his rear, going down towards turn 1. It's still neck and neck for these boys. They're going toe-to-toe. It'd be good to have a good conversation with these guys at the end, because they haven't left each other alone for 50 minutes, have they? They've been neck and neck on each other's toes the whole way around, whether it's been one chasing the other. But yeah, no rest for the wicked. These guys love it, though. When you get a good race like this, when you're even on pace and you know that the guy in front of you or behind is of a certain calibre, you can always be rest assured that there's not going to be any contact. He says that. There was contact a little while ago, but you know it's never going to be harsh.
It's never malicious contact, is it? You know if there is an incident, you know it's just because everyone is pushing 100%, and sometimes when you're going 100%, you do make mistakes. But again, it's that friendly rivalry between the drivers where you can almost guarantee that as long as no one's done anything very silly, the group chats between them will usually be fairly civil, reasonably civil, we say most of the time. Yeah, I think it's normally the community car, isn't it, that that Jardier has normally got a big picture of his face, and I believe is it his dog as well that he has on the side quite often? I know there's a McLaren livery that I've seen a fair few times that is the community car, but I did notice he's not sort of racing for obviously the Jardier community. He is in the Veloce car, isn't he? So is that a case that he is running their livery this time round? So
yes. You could be right there.
I did not realise, actually, that Jardier was racing for Veloce at the moment. So there we go. Now I've been informed.
Maybe he is for Season 14 and other outfits that he's racing currently is part of Veloce. Who knows? They chop and change, these boys, don't they? They go where they want. I'm assuming.
I think it's the way to do it, isn't it? I think got to make the most of it in every situation you possibly can. I'm just having a quick look now. The Purple Sector asking, what is the fastest lap? Which, to be fair, that is the perfect name for asking that question.
It is.
Fastest lap of this half of the race, anyway, is still going to Luke Whitehead with 2:04.680. So we did see slightly faster laps, obviously, in qualifying, but that is the fastest lap of the race so far. In fact, only our top 3 have managed to get inside the 2:04s, to be fair.
That is slightly untrue. Valentine Barrier got in there, but anyway, sorry.
Okay.
I know, randomly. Veloce JCT. So I think that's Jardier Community Team, Veloce. So it's still part of it. I think that just changed then, which is strange, because it did just say Veloce, didn't it? It didn't say that afterwards. Oh, am I going crazy?
Mine did have JCT there as well.
Oh, okay.
I just, to be honest, I just didn't bother reading that bit out.
So there you go. So he's good.
I was about to say, I think we go a little bit of watching. I'm looking up the inside there. Maybe now this is going to be the time he is going to be in the toe of that Aston Martin as they come down the back straight into the braking zone. He's tried to outbrake Jards here before. The Aston Martin does seem to be an absolute rocket ship in a straight line, though, really stretching its advantage. I'm pretty sure the Aston Martin's running extra ballast as well in the current balanced performance. I know the Lambos had, I can't can't remember if it's 15 kilograms taken off of its weight, or it might even be more. It might even be more than that it's had taken away. But yeah, really surprised how well the Aston's going in a straight line. It just seems that every time it gets out the corner, it just plants itself and flies off down the road. It's like watching the Bentley of old age. Whenever we used to watch that, it would always be holding everyone up in the corners, and then it would just absolutely enter warp speed down the back straights and run away from everyone into the braking zones.
Just trying to have a look at this BOP. I can't quite see how much it's been given or taken away, as it would be.
I know I can see it in how it is in the server. If I jump onto here, that's right. I will go quiet for just a moment while I'm just having a little look.
I've got 31 extra for the Ferrari, 17 for the Huracan. They know this, right? We're not giving away trade secrets, are we?
No. I believe everyone racing, I believe, is aware of it. So I've got it that the Lamborghini is run. It's had 11 kilograms taken out of it.
Oh,
the Aston Martin. Aston Martin's had 19 kilograms taken out of it. Sorry. The Porsche's had 24 kilograms added, which I'm very surprised to see. Ferrari has had 12 kilograms added. Going back through, the BMW's had 25 kilograms added to it. Not surprised. That car's an absolute monster in a straight line, and always was very strong in the brakes. The McLaren, to be fair, only had 6 kilograms added to it. What else have we got here? Is that older Ferrari? Am I being an absolute fool here?
It could have been. We've got Samir in the
old
Ferrari.
There is. Yeah, there is Samir Foch. Yeah, so he's had 20 kilograms taken off of that car. Just having a little look now through and see if there's anything else here. No, I think that apart from that, everyone else that's all the weights. But you can see weights added, weights taken away. But clearly, Giardier loving the fact that his Aston Martin, well, all the Aston Martins here, are all running 19 kilograms less than normal. I imagine that probably makes the car feel quite sprightly on the brakes.
That's probably why he's doing so well, I must say. Managing to hold back Aidan Walsingham for so long. He's still going toe-to-toe, though. Unfortunately, guys, we are going to stick with this one. Not unfortunately, so I know people like to see what's going up and down the grid, but it is the most spicy race going on here. 4 minutes to go, and we'll keep an eye on that time. It might be wise for us to jump down to P14, Pool 15, because Chris Warner going up the inside by the looks of things, and scraping the side of Lois for P14, managing to get that done. Lois, unfortunately, part of the SDL boys, has dropped a position, and Lois will be off towards Podens as part of the Bromance boys. So yeah. And then obviously got Josh Waring just above, slowly eking out his gap that he managed to take on Podens a few laps before. So there you go, a change for P14. I know it's not tantalising for the championship right now, but it's a change nonetheless, as Lois gets himself up into a better position. P23, we're getting very close as well for a change. I think that's Barnabas Faiskas also trying to get past Kargulu, the keyboard maniac, in P22, followed by Favre? I don't know how to pronounce that. Steve in the SDL car just behind. Favre is probably the name. Favre, I don't know. It makes me sound like I've got a list.
I just let you go with that for a minute. I just thought I'd let you. Yeah, I think Favre.
Favre.
It's probably not.
I don't know. It's the U that gets me.
It's again, it's the difference of sort of European names versus our heathenistic British tongues, isn't it? I think sometimes.
I like it that he's balanced out the difficult surname with Steve, with 2 E's. So Steve's got the name in there. P24, he's chasing Faiskas down, the 95 Porsche, to try and get past. That's what a car looks like when we haven't got the livery installed properly, by the way, guys, if you wanted to know. If anyone's watching this back, or you're watching it live and you're part of Faiskas' team, you need to make sure you add the pack on and you're running the right one. Otherwise, us here in the comms box, we can't actually see your car if you're not running the delivery that you gave to the coordinators pre-race. Anyway, Steve chasing down another position. Let's see what's happening a little bit further up. Chris Warner still pulling away from Lois. Was he got past, actually? Because didn't Lois get past? No, he didn't. He did pass Lois. Lois is a little bit further back. Right, what's going on at the top? Any movement? Any action going on between these boys? Still 1 and 2.
If I'm honest, I've been going through incident reports and other bits and pieces, trying to keep a little eye on things. I've just noticed that car number 214, that blood red Lamborghini, has actually picked up another 5-second penalty, so is now up to 30 seconds of penalties. Yeah, so not really going their way. That's going to really see them tumbling down the order. They were having a great little battle for sort of on-track position, but realistically, when it comes to the actual results, it's not going to, not necessarily going to sort of change. Well, it's not going to make too much of a difference, really. It's such a big drop that that penalty's really going to see them go down. I'm trying to look at the timing board and try and work it out vaguely, but I mean, it's in excess of probably 15 positions are going to get lost, which it's not the way you want to lose positions ever.
No, on board with Noel Hatchie, currently fighting for P25. Not getting close to Perez. Chat saying big fight going on. Can't see evidence of that, but we'll stay with him. Right, let's. We need to concentrate, unfortunately, of the top steps, because we are coming towards the very end of this race now. Where Luke Whitehead is, let's double check if he'll get another lap in. I think he probably will. He's coming through 16 right now. So yeah, I think we'll have one more lap after this, Tim, and then it is checkered flag, and we get to talk to the top three. Jardier and Aidan Walsingham. It's going to get spicy now with these boys. We will jump down and watch the other guys come through as they do. But Jardier is still being tailgated ferociously like a lion by Aidan Walsingham. It's definitely someone I would not like to be tailgated by. But he's doing a good job, isn't he? Keeping him behind.
It's so close between them now as well. Jardier really hasn't gone that defensive yet, though, has he? He's sort of really seems to be more just going on outright pace to try and stay in front, but I think Walsingham is throwing absolutely everything at him now. Are we going to see a move here into turn 1? Possibly. Again, the Aston Martin's very, very strong on the straights. Again, not super defensive from Jards. He's just driving his own race, trying to hold it together. I think he knows if he goes too defensive, then Walsingham is just going to go for an absolute mega move and try and go around the outside or dive it up the inside if he can do. Aston looking pretty strong here through Sector 1, through the S's, although towards the end of it, big time gained there by Walsingham.
He's losing really the rear end of that car, isn't he, Walsingham?
Yeah. He needs to try and get the move done before they get on that back straight, or he needs to try and gain an advantage through this next left-hand hairpin, because every single time they're coming onto it, somehow Jard's car is just absolutely entering warp speed. Not sure if he's got some sort of quantum capacitor in the back of it or something, but he just watch the way it pulls away now. There's maybe a car's length between them at the beginning of the straight, and by the time they get down towards the braking zone, it does seem to stretch all the way out. Even in the slip, that Lamborghini isn't able to hang on to the back of that Aston.
That's mad, isn't it? That's probably how Jard's got it done on him down the back straight into 12, because of just the ability to be able to pile on and just pull away. Yeah, even in the slip, that Aston Martin was able to pull away, and I think that's probably what Aidan will tell us when we chat about it later on. We're going to have a dive as Aidan loses the rear end again through turn 14, 15. Unfortunately, I think that's kissed goodbye. Any chance of a second place finish here? But I mean, what a good attempt. He was in second after the pit stops, and unfortunately lost position to Jardier. And that is all she wrote for Luke Whitehead coming around the final corner, starting out his campaign in season 14 with a W. Luke Whitehead takes the checkered flag and gets himself a 400 points. Jardier then is going to come across the line with Aidan Walsingham in tow for 88 points. Aidan will come across in third, the bottom step of the podium. Mattia De Campo will come across behind him. Conrad Ciata will also finish very high up in fifth. Luis, the pit stop got him to sixth place. Alex Torregrossa just behind. Jentel Van Thelen is unfortunately going to lose positions due to his unfortunate discretions during the race. Valentin Barry will be promoted up to 7th place. Arthur Pattett into 8th. Waring as we've been corrected, will jump up into 9th. Warner will be in 10th, and he'll probably, Van Thalen will enter about now. Oh no, it's 30 seconds. Jeez, okay. Well, there you go. Unfortunately, it's ruined his race, hasn't it, at this stage? Kevin Niles almost coming across the line with Kraft, going toe-to-toe down towards the line. Almost for P16. Jimmy Holm also heading a massive list of other cars there. And the Cargulu coming across the line in P20. Fantastic race for him on a keyboard. Well, there you go. There's the first opening gambit for these guys in Tier 1. They are still racing across the line here. We're on board with Walter Billen chasing down Arnold Hours for P28 and comes across the line there. I think we're almost done. Abby Sentema is also coming across the line with Jose Jamirez, and that is it for round 1 for Tier 1. The Speedy Boys of AOR GT3 Season 14. We are open, we are away with another 5 races to go. Luke Whitehead taping the top spot, Jardier in second, and Aiden in third. Takeaways from the race, Tim?
I think it's showing that I think the things to take away, it's got to be that the BOP seems to be working, doesn't it?
Yes.
I mean, obviously, we did see Whitehead with a dominant performance, but I think that is just a case of that is what we expect from Luke Whitehead. There's a nice, reasonable mix of cars on the grid. There's a nice, reasonable mix of cars within the top 10. What have we got there? We've got Aston Martin, BMW, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche. I mean, especially compared to last season where it was just an absolute wash of these mid-engined new cars that came out. I think it's really nice to see a nice mix. And I think it's exciting to see how it works. COTA is a bit one of those circuits where it's a bit of an odd track. I think it's quite hard to, sort of choose a car for this race alone, if you know what I mean, when you try and choose a car for the entire season. So it's going to be interesting to see how this balanced performance sort of changes as we go throughout the season. I know it is subject to change. If suddenly everyone's going, hang on a second, the Lamborghini's ridiculous, they may add some weight to it and things. So I think the things to take away is that the balanced performance, it's a nice change up. I like the idea of adding the ballast. It works well.
Seems to be good, doesn't it? Well, we've got boys waiting, so we might as well get them through thick and fast. We'll start off with the Ripper himself, coming away with a fantastic win for the first race, opening that purse, Luke, with style and finishing a good margin against your rivals. What can I say? Well done.
Thank you very much. Well, it's good to hear your beautiful voice again, Rage. It's been too long, my friend. And hello, Tim, as well. Hope you're doing well, my friend.
Thank you very much, mate.
But yeah, it's a good start. 1, 2, 3 for the team as well, which is the most important thing. So I'm very happy for the team result as well as my own.
Was it a 1, 2, 3? How does that work? Are you, Jards and Aiden all in the same team? Are you all Veloce?
Yeah, we're all Veloce drivers. So yeah, it's team 1, 2, 3. So the team result is even stronger than just my standalone result. So and we know there's nothing bigger than the team. So it's a very good start for us.
Didn't realise. We don't have. Are you using a custom livery? Because
yes, I forgot to send it in. Okay. So it'll be on for next race.
Okay, well, you know where to send it. You can send it to me. I'll get it on for the next time. But we don't. I don't think Jards is working either. So whether we need to tell him, and Aiden's definitely not working either. So
Aiden's using the same livery as I am. So that's why that is. But Jards, I'll ask him. Maybe you can ask him when he comes in.
We will do. No worries. Well, man, look, the lap, let's just start it off at the beginning because it started from qualifying. You're the only person in the 203s, and by some margin. I think it was the only person, Tim. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that is correct.
It was, wasn't it? Was that just a fluke lap, or was that planned?
Well, obviously it's planned. Obviously, I had another 5 attempts in there.
Oh,
obviously as always. But no, on a serious note, it was a very good lap. I mean, Sector 1 wasn't great. Sector 2 was as good as I could get it, and Sector 3 was, 2 tenths, 3 tenths clear of everyone. So, Sector 3 was where I gained my time, and just put it all together. Like in practice, I was really struggling to put that lap together, and then finally in quali when it mattered, managed to do it. So. Very happy with the lap. I think there was more time in it still, but it was very good for the circumstances. And,
good.
Yeah, that geared us up well for the race, and we lights to flag. So it was at least in net position. So it was a very, very strong start.
We did. Me and Tim both noticed as well that there was a slight delay in the pit stop because you came out with only 1.2 between you and I think it was Aiden at the time because they then swapped over positions. But was there an incident with the pit box again, or are we all good on that pit?
No, so I think the good thing that I had was obviously I knew that the tyres would take a lap to warm up. So I came out of the pits. When I actually got out of the pits, the gap was around 2 seconds, and by the end of that first lap, it was 1.2.
Got you.
So I actually overcut a little bit because obviously they fought a little bit on the previous lap when Aiden pitted. And by then, obviously, Jards was behind. So I knew that I needed to be, a little bit, patient on the first lap. I knew he'd catch me. But as long as he didn't get below that 0.8, 0.9 gap, then I'd be safe. And obviously, he never got below a second, which was perfect, really. And then we were able to just slowly, build the tyres up, work our way ahead then, because we had a bit better pace. And then obviously, I don't know what happened. I think they started battling, maybe had a collision. I'm not entirely sure.
There was a little tippy-tap, but it was all fair and good. I don't think there would be anything from it, to be fair. I think it was all good.
I mean, they were both laughing about it afterwards, so I don't think there's any problems with that side. But yeah, as I say, it was pretty good strategy, and I'm glad I stayed out the extra lap. Because as I say, it just gave me that bit of security when I came out the pits. A bit of hurt on the first lap. Obviously, the first lap, the tyres could be freezing. But then once we got the tyres in, we had better tyres for the rest of the race, and it was just the better strategy, in my opinion. So,
good.
Yeah, pretty happy with it, pretty flawless. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show as well.
It was good. Well, there was not a lot of Luke Whitehead on screen, unfortunately. We need you to, we need a rear to the front, a start last, finish first performance to get a lot of Luke Whitehead at the moment.
I'd rather have an easy run of it, to be honest with you. I'd rather it not be too difficult.
I'm sure it will come.
Plan with this season is not the greatest at overtaking, so. As you saw probably with Aiden stuck behind Jards staring at that fat Aston the whole race. But yeah, I mean, it's a good car. I chose it, and I'm excited for the rest of the season. But of course, GG's to Jards and Aiden for the podium. It's a good result for the team. So.
Indeed, champagne all round. Thanks again, Luke. I'm sure we'll talk to you again in the season. But yeah, great start, and yeah, we'll catch you next week.
Yeah. Take care, guys.
See you soon.
Take care. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Right. We'll get Jards up next, I think, seeing as he was second place. Take it away, Tim.
Good evening, Jardier. Great race for you again. Absolutely fantastic. How did that Aston feel this evening?
Oh man, it was really good because in literally half an hour, 20 minutes before the quali, I was really not happy because I was missing so much time and I just could not figure out the setup. And then I don't know, something just clicked. And I put the setup together and I improved like 3/10 in the quali. And I could have done even better in the quali, but I just didn't hit the lap time. So absolutely super, super happy. And especially in the first stint, when I was like really close to the guys and until I don't know, 4 laps before my pit, I was really faster than both of the guys ahead. So I was really, really happy with that.
So it looked like that car was just absolutely planted. Obviously, with the custom BOP running 19 kilograms less than normal, it looked like an absolute rocket ship on the back straight, and on the brakes, it looked really strong as well. Is it a noticeable difference that you found now that we're running this different BOP?
Oh yeah, so much better. You could see easily that Lambo was faster in let's say fast corners, and because the guys are running TC0 in some of the corners, they were just much faster. But I got it back on the brakes and on the straights, which was really, really nice. Then I feel like the BOP was quite good, really, really good. I do like it a lot.
Fantastic. Always good to hear. I you're a man that's fairly vocal about your opinions of how the cars drive in ACC. So it's good to know that you're pleased. So looking forward to the season as a whole, it's a top 3 finish for all the Veloce drivers, which is absolutely amazing. To be honest, it's been a bit of a revelation for me and Rage throughout the race. It was only at the last moment we found out that all 3 of you are now with Veloce. So we were quite surprised. We saw that your name was there, and we were thinking to ourselves, hang on a second, he's got Veloce team name. What's going on here? How long have you been with Veloce now then?
4 years.
All right. Well, me and Rage apparently we just haven't been paying attention.
I'm with Veloce for 4 years, but I'm borrowed with Yazid as well, so it's both at the same time, you can say,
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Because I was thinking to myself, remember him always having Veloce at the bottom of his name, but no, I mean, great finish for yourself, and obviously an absolutely fantastic top 3 finish for the team. You looking to sort of try and replicate this kind of performance throughout the entire season, all 3 of you?
Yeah, I'm really excited now. Like on this track, really, the BOP was really, really good, and I'm looking forward for the next races of the season. I was quite surprised that some of the people were like off the pace a bit, like some really strong drivers. But I think maybe it's just the Kota. I know the Kota is such a difficult track, and I think the next time it's gonna be much better again.
I think we're at Is it Mazzano we're at next? I'm trying to think where we are now next time. On a Zandvoort.
Just put it down as well.
Okay, yeah, no, so yeah, Zandvoort next time round. So yeah, that's another sort of fantastic long circuit. How did you get on at Zandvoort? Are you feeling reasonably confident about going there?
I'm gonna be honest, I haven't driven there. Like I've done like a community race there like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and before I haven't driven the track in like half a year, maybe even longer. So I'm actually curious how everybody will go on.
Well, I think if it's anything of what tonight we've seen, I imagine that everyone's going to put on quite a show. Hopefully there won't be too many Turn 1 incidents, unlike this evening. But I've got to quickly, we've got to ask about it. That incident between you and Aiden, was that all taken in good jest, or were you slightly annoyed when you got that tap on the back end?
No, it was okay. It was fine. Like at that point already, Luke was pulling away, so I knew that Luke will be untouchable, you know, for the rest of the race. So I basically knew the rest of the race would be just between me and Aiden. And like, luckily, I didn't spun fully. You know, I did just a half a spin, so no harm done, no big deal. You know, we could have fought. But I said, like, after I will not let him go. You know, I will definitely keep him behind me for whatever it takes.
I mean, it was absolutely fantastic drive. It didn't look like you went overly defensive. It looked like you really were just sort of, you know, maintaining second place on pace alone. So absolutely fantastic effort from you. Any final words this evening before we move on to your third place compatriot?
Oh, just thank you to you guys for doing what you're doing, and thank you AOR for keeping the good job, and thank you everyone watching and supporting us.
Fantastic. Thank you ever so much, GRDA. And I imagine we'll probably get a chance to speak to you next week if everything goes well for you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you,
See
hopefully.
you soon, buddy. And we'll hop up Aiden for a quick chat before we run away for the evening. Aiden, it was a hard-fought race between you and Jards there. Obviously, it started off with you, Jards, and Luke, but he seemed to run away a little bit on pace. How do you think your race could have gone any better? Obviously, I know you had that little tap with Jards after the pit stop. It looked like his car was just a rocket down the straights.
Yeah, I don't know what else really I could have done. Maybe a little bit more setup work to protect the rear tyres a bit better, because that was ultimately the biggest issue. The rear tyres just wanted to give up after 6 or 7 laps.
We noticed there was a lot of rear-end movement on your car especially.
I mean, it helps not running traction control, I'm sure,
Yeah.
but I mean, that's how we have to drive the Lamborghini now. That's how it's fast. You drive it without traction control, and you're pigeonholed into making setups that preserve rear tires even though they're spinning. Yeah.
You sound a bit dejected though for third after that race. Was it really hard work to stay with them, or because obviously you swapped around after that pit stop? It looked like it was just the speed was too much to compete with down that straight. Obviously, you were quicker in the speedy stuff, the twisty bits.
Yeah, exactly that. I'm not upset about it. I think I did as much as I could. I did better than I thought I would, honestly. The car just isn't cut out for competing with the Aston in the straight line, quite frankly, as we all saw. Like, you could sit on the gearbox 2 tenths away and he'd still get me by 2 tenths.
Yeah.
So nothing I could really do there. And Jack knew it himself. As soon as that undercut worked and he got in front, he knew he was safe. So good strategy from him. It worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, and obviously the little Punterino that we saw, I think it was just a combination of, I think it looked like he was a bit early on the brakes, to be fair, more than anything. Yeah,
I hadn't braked any later than usual. I'd brake normal braking point because I've been running in this draft for 4 or 5 laps at that point. And I don't know, maybe it's just a bit slower approach than the apex, but I didn't even get the contact pop up on my side, so might have even been netcode playing a part there.
Yeah, well, it looked to me as he arrived at the apex with a good 2-3 foot to spare, and obviously you arrived and he was already slowing down a lot more than you. So yeah, maybe it was a little bit of netcode. You never know. AOR's not the greatest on that, but hey, look, we started it off 1, 2, 3 for the team. Real good points for all of you guys. So yeah, I mean, it's a good first race to start. Obviously, you had some big names that fell by the wayside. Barrier wasn't anywhere near anyone this afternoon. So, look, it's a good start, and hopefully there's some better races coming up for you guys. I know Cota's not exactly the most well-practiced and rehearsed track out there. We got Zandvoort, Misano, Silverstone's Older coming up, so plenty of opportunities yet.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
No worries. Aiden, appreciate you jumping into the box and having a chat. We'll see you, hopefully, in a higher position next week.
Thanks a lot. Catch you
No
later.
worries. See you soon, buddy.
Cheers.
Bye.
Well, there we go, Tim. Little chat with the top three. I got the feeling there Aiden was a little bit bummed with the performance of that car. Couldn't quite get it into an area that was really working for him. It came across there, didn't it, when we were having that chat? Just nothing he could do. I think obviously going behind Jardier after being in front for that long old stint and then losing out because of a well played strategy is a real struggle, isn't it?
Yeah, there's nothing worse than when you feel like you could get more from the car, or you're just not comfortable with the way the car's driving. It can be a real case of, especially on a longer race, if within the first 10 minutes you think to yourself, this just doesn't feel nice, then you've got a long race ahead of you. So understandably, if he is feeling a little bit sort of dejected and flat after that one, but still, top three, it's still really, really good.
Yes.
The pace of everyone this evening was really, really up there. I mean, obviously, we did see that, my brain's gone. Oh God, Luke was just pulling away from everyone, pretty much the entire race. But we've seen that for a fair few seasons now, haven't we?
Yes.
He is just on another level. He is an extra level of alien compared to everyone else. But I mean, he was that, Aiden was the second fastest Lamborghini out there, and by some margin, it was just a case that Jards was also really, really feeling it. But it's a very different circuit next week, isn't it? It's a very different circuit. So it wouldn't be surprising. Obviously, you've got one decent straight, but the rest of it is just corner after corner after corner. And that might be the time where the Lambo just feels more comfortable for him. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yes, indeed. Well, we are off to Zandvoort next week. A funny old track that not many people enjoy. But hey ho, we'll see how it goes. I know you said there's 2 90-minute races for the season. Do you know where they are off the top of your head?
That, I believe, is Misano, which is in 2 weeks' time.
Yes.
And then it is Kailami, which is the penultimate race of the season, if I am correct.
Yes, there's 7 races this season. Normally there's only 6. I seem to think. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Can't remember. There's normally a midpoint, so that's Silverstone, and that's normally the big one. But it's not. They've obviously got Misano and Kailami. They've got the 90 minutes, which is fine. No problem at all. It's always good to mix things up. Well, guys, we'll let you enjoy the rest of your Monday evening. Obviously, if you want to join us tomorrow, Tim will be with you for the Tier 2 coverage. If you want to, that starts at the same time. With a pre-show at 7 and starting the race at 7:30 is normally what we do. So if you want to jump on board around about 7:30, if you want to watch the stream tomorrow for Tier 2, I'm sure there's a completely new grid for Tier 2, considering we've got almost completely different grid for Tier 1 this season. So yeah, do join us for that tomorrow. I'm not too sure if you've got some cover with you or not. So yeah, if not.
Pretty sure it's just me, Lone Ranger.
It's a Lone Ranger.
Mainly because the bulk of people that are interested in doing commentary are then actually racing themselves on Tuesdays, which is it's always the thing of I love AOR and it is amazing, but it is always a little bit sad that I can never actually take part in the championship the championship because I'm always in the comms booth, so I can't race and commentate at the same time.
You can't have it both ways, lad. Never
and
mind.
I'm not fast enough for Mondays.
No, definitely not.
By any means.
No, neither am I. I hang my hat on a Monday, unfortunately. I can get down with the Tier 10 boys, though, on a Tuesday. Never mind. Anyway, guys, we will catch you tomorrow if you fancy a bit of Tier 2 fandangos. If not, join us same time, same place next week for the next instalment of Tier 1 for AOR. I appreciate everyone jumping in, and we will see you next time, guys. Have a good one. Ciao, ciao.
Cheers.